Hey, welcome back. It's the APP in 2023. Yeah, the Alternative Perspectives podcast. Yeah, the Happy 868. We here. Naldo.
Jude.
We're on the inside.
Another week. Another week, another podcast. Second podcast of 2023.
What's the date today? The 17th? 16th, yeah, today's 16th.
16th, you sure?
Yeah,
today's 17th, bro.
Seriously,
Yeah, boy, dog.
Way, boy, dog.
Sleeping
boy.
myself. Yeah.
Boys,
Yeah. Time waits on no one, you know.
they're all one days, all one, you know, right now? Yeah.
Come now, you're trying to bring back with vibes or?
Why is
With
it?
lockdown vibes or?
Yeah.
No, it don't feel like no one long day again. You understand? That was
that is all,
a long time thing, right?
Yeah, I know you're saying.
If you're trying to bring back that vibes, you wouldn't be alone in that, you know?
Well, true.
Because we seem to have a lot of well, you say they still have a lot. I see them pad on a little bit since the press conference last week, but where there's a lot or little, we do have some lockdowners.
So the thing is that I forgot to read the messages from the group. What I'm seeing regularly, well, I wouldn't say regularly, no, because obviously it's not like how it was before. And I think that the reason for that is because what they're doing now is they're giving you figures for a period of time, right? So I don't know if you saw the two most recent.
Yeah, the rolling averages.
Yeah, other than the rolling averages, because the rolling averages on one side, but then they tell you like on one side 500 and something cases, but that's from the 11th to the 16th, right? And because you see those big figures, you know, a lot of people in these groups, they'll hype now. So I think you see like 500 and something cases, 12 deaths, I believe it was. Yeah.
I just read the rolling average figures. So
yeah.
The rolling average was 2.
Yeah, well, you see, that's because you might be a little more analytical. Let's just put it like that. Right? I'm just trying to use
You're trying to be kind?
Yeah.
You're trying to be...
Right?
Yeah.
So you would see this and make sense out of this quickly, right? But a lot of people... Like they have no intentions of making any sense out of it.
I don't even know if people paying. Well, I shouldn't say I don't know because you say they're talking about that specifically, but I'm not even sure. Most of the people I heard hyping weren't even talking about local figures.
Right?
They were all talking about what's happening in China and what they believe is happening in the US, which is not actually what's happening in the US. They kind of somehow they've attached themselves to that. And started to fearmonger that is what's going to happen here. Right. Obviously, number one, because they don't understand what's taking place in China. And you could say it's because they're less analytical. That was the term you used just now, right? Or you could say it's because they're dotish. Either one or two. But they are misunderstanding what's taking place in China. Or actually misunderstanding, but not understanding the full context of what's taking place in China. In some cases, just misrepresenting what's taking place in the US or misunderstanding what's taking place in the US and then trying to bring a certain degree of fear here.
Yeah.
So that
that's wild, boy.
Yeah. Remember I told you this was while we were in the throes of the pandemic. I told you some people have latched on to this. They've made it their identity, part of their identity, being COVID scared, being I don't know how else to refer to it. But and I think I've listened to people on podcasts in the States call them COVIDians, like, you know, part of a religion or something. But they've adopted this as part of their identity and they're just choosing to...
I think one of the things that this situation is showing me is that a lot of people very cynical and pessimistic, and they like that a certain degree of negativity, right? Because, I mean... your best hope should always not want us to end up in any shitty situation again, right? And I'm not saying you just have that hope and just that's it, right? But you have that hope and then, so you say, let me look into this some more. Right. You understand what I'm saying? Because I want to understand, because I don't want to end up where we were.
I don't want to be fearful.
Right.
So let me see if I can get the full context. So let me see if there's any information here that could actually calm me down as opposed to feed my paranoia.
And the thing is, the problem is not just feeding their paranoia. You know? The problem is they trying to push it onto other people.
Right. Yes.
And the thing, like, it confusing me because these people don't know you. They wouldn't even send these things privately, but they want to send it in groups.
Right.
You understand? They wouldn't be like, Dan, what just now? You understand?
Yeah.
You know, something you see something, you go send me it directly, or I go see someone and send you, or send somebody. Yeah, check this now. Nah, they're putting these things in groups.
But that's what I was saying, that they've kind of adopted it as part of their identity, right? They want to seem like the forewarners. They want to be like, listen, I am the one trumpeting the whole, let's be safe mantra, as opposed to what you are asking for them to do, or you're kind of disappointed in not doing, is that if you get this bit of information, pass it by somebody who you feel you could trust to analyze it, and you'll have a conversation before you jump on the fear-mongering train, right? I'll give you an example. Somebody sent me a screenshot from an article. I can't remember what publication they got it from, but it was an international mainstream publication. And the headline was 60,000 dead in China from COVID. Right. Mm-hmm. So the person sent it to me, asking me, is this true? And is this bad? Mm-hmm. Right? And well, I told them, that is coming from the Chinese authorities. It may very well be more than that, right? But that's for a month. Right, and this is in a country that has 1.4 billion people. 27,000 people die every day in China. 27,000 people die. 10.14 million people die a year. This is prior to COVID. Right. This is the average mortality figures for that country. 10 million people die every year. So 60,000 dying between December 8th and January 7th from COVID. It's obviously... you couldn't put it in proper context to understand if this was in addition to the normal 27,000 per day that would die, right? We don't know if it's excess death, but it's a figure which in and of itself should not seem that alarming, because it's not 60,000 dead in a month in Trinidad, right? And then on top of that, the Chinese authorities, if you could trust the authorities, the information they're putting out, but the information they're putting out, they're claiming that the average age of someone dying from COVID is 80 over there. And they claim that 95% of the deaths are in the over 65 category, and all of them, or the vast majority of them, having pre-existing conditions, right?
Right. I also saw something with them saying, because they were making sure to separate the COVID-related deaths, right. and what they were saying, they were checking something in the dead people, and if they had something that was high, right, that is what they would have based it on, it being specifically a COVID death.
Right. What they essentially were trying to say is that unless you died from respiratory failure, they won't classify you as a COVID death. Unless respiratory failure played a role in your eyes shutting, played a significant role in you even in your organs shutting down and you going off to the other land, they're not going to qualify you as a COVID death, right? So all of that is why people question how reliable the figures are. Some people might say that's probably a better idea of a truer figure of COVID deaths, as opposed to just connecting anybody who came in showing symptomology or whatever. For COVID, but you could have the argument, and I'm not here to have the argument, in my business, right? But in other words, the point I was making is the person was asking me, so I was able to put the information in context. And that person asked that because they're not, I wouldn't say they're one of the most cynical people out there, but they just know that information could be sensationalized, right? And because the next thing the person was when I explained to them, the person said, because I see they're trying to make it sound like it's a huge deal. And I was saying to myself, well, then why the Prime Minister saying we're not locking down, or we're not? So then I had to go into all of I was saying just now that they don't fully understand the context of what's taking place in China. And I had to go into all of that other information, right? But to your point, that is somebody who doesn't want to live in fear. So they want to, let me understand the situation fully, and then, okay, does this deserve me pressing the panic button? Or should I just pat down? Because unlike the rest of them, they don't want to stay in a constant state of fear. They want they're looking for good news. They're looking for a silver lining. But these other folks aren't looking for a silver lining. And if you ask me why, I think it's because they just love fear mongering. I think I suspect it's a lot of the same people who would do it with anything, with crime
and
anything. They just love being, hey boy, thing. They love to be the person, the doomsayer or whatever. They just love being that kind of person.
But the thing is, so my daughter's supposed to do a procedure this week, right? Surgical procedure, if you want to call it that. And one of the main people who we had planned to do it, but initially, she was to do it Thursday. When we spoke to them today, now first of all, they were supposed to call and organize the time and everything, right? They didn't. So nevertheless, we reached out to them. Hey, what's going on? And they were like, wait. You see what's going on right now? So she will need to get antigen test 24 hours before she comes to do the procedure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tell my wife, we can buy them. We get somebody else.
And bet your bottom dollar, if 5 people cancel procedures because of that, they'll stop it the next day. Mm-hmm. They'll stop it the next day. But feeding the paranoia, once there's no cost to feeding your paranoia, they'll just continue with it. Because, I mean, how accurate these tests are in the first place.
Yeah, it's an antigen test. Yeah. And it has been proven that unless you have a very high viral load, right? Antigen test is going to say it's negative, right? Yeah. And if the child isn't showing any symptoms of being sick or anything now or recently or anything like that, right? Why I had to go and pay 3 something? Yep. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I don't pay thousands of dollars. Thousands. Yeah. Even if you had to, okay, when she come, you just had to do a small test.
And they're doing it for you. Yeah. They're doing it for free. Yeah.
No problem. Yeah. I gain all the thousands of dollars. Thousands. And I had...
You still tell them. But like I say, let 5 people cancel procedures because of that now. They will pardon. They will have a meeting amongst themselves and be, well, we had to find some next solution.
And then this is the next thing they wanted. 24 hours. Is that antigen, dog? You could do that and get the results in half an hour.
Yeah. But I think what they mean is 24 hours is the maximum duration. Beforehand.
But the thing is 7 o'clock in the morning. So then, if I had to get before I come there,
right.
I had to do it the day before.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So,
but I was coming here prepared today before you told me about all of the hype. Right? Was that I personally found from at least my, goings about that the press conference last conducted by the Prime Minister and, the Minister of Health and others last week actually served to calm the panic down, right? And we have, but I have in particular criticized this government a gazillion times for the messaging, the handling, everything to do with COVID, right? But for the very first time, last week, in particular the Prime Minister, not so much some of the doctors that spoke or Terence Yalsing, because Terence Yalsing is still Terence Yalsing. But the Prime Minister, I found, was extremely competent in the way he communicated the information surrounding COVID. And he tried his best to convey to people that there was no need for a panic. And because I felt like after that, I don't know if it's because I wanted to see it, I was so impressed by how they spoke that I saw what I wanted to see after. But I generally got the impression that people had kind of like, okay, all right, the Prime Minister says, okay, go ahead with life. No, to me, it shouldn't have you should have more sense than to rely on them to tell you whether, how to feel about the situation or not. But let's say you think the only official sources are them. So let me listen to them. And they said one, in fact, the Prime Minister said specifically, rising cases is no longer, or case numbers, so he said his actual words were, rising cases are no longer in and of itself a cause for panic, right? He drew reference to the fact that if we were seeing these sorts of case numbers during the Delta wave 18 months or however long ago, then this would have been a cause for concern because this would have come with a certain, with an accompanying hospitality rate that would have put the healthcare system at risk. It would have broken the healthcare system. But now we are dealing with a less virulent strain of the virus and a highly immunized population. Immunity developed through not just vaccination, but through natural immunity. He said 92% is the estimate that the health authorities here have of the number of people in this country that have been exposed to COVID. So many of them would have been vaccinated as well, right? So you have natural immunity, vaccine derived immunity, and you're dealing with a less virulent strain of the virus. So people, these are the groups that are at risk, right? Age, health. For the first time, he went on about obesity. He identified it specifically.
And so he talk about then?
Huh?
He talk about
Well, I guess, but me too. So he talk about carrying too much weight, right? And how that plays a part in your in your risk of having severe outcomes from COVID, blah blah blah. So in other words, he said, if that is your specific situation, bat in your crease,
right? Yeah,
you
protect your 3 points,
right? And the rest of people. You see, I can't tell you whether to jump up in Carnival or not. That the decision for you to make. But all I could say is that from what we are seeing here, there is no need to return to a situation where we have restrictions. I can't remember her name. One of the doctors who spoke directly about the epidemiology of the current strains of the virus. She said outrightly, no evidence that it is causing more severe sickness.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw, if anybody sent it the spam WhatsApp that's saying,
yeah, about it dread and it's like you do get bullshit.
Yeah,
utter bullshit, right? No evidence it causes more severe. Now she did say that the WHO is still currently studying that, right? But thus far there's no evidence.
Well, no, they released something they released something late last week saying that it does.
Right.
It's not more severe.
Right. And not just that, but even although it's still being studied, well, this is what she was saying, it's still being studied, there's no evidence to suggest it's more severe. But on top of that, there is nothing in the epidemiology of this current strain to suggest that it would be. So in other words, if there's some developments or mutations that could be a cause to believe that it could cause you more, no, there's none of that. So, what are we doing?
Well, boy, the thing is,
what are we doing?
I could tell you for sure. I know a few people who ran to get boosters. Right. I'm telling you, I
know, and I'll be honest with you. I think that's a rational thing to do.
At this point where we seeing the increase in cardiac arrest situations across the world. Just now, hold on.
No, I'm telling you to be careful what you're saying.
I know.
But it's going on YouTube.
Yeah,
right.
No, what I'm saying is, we're seeing a rise in that, and not yet could prove if it's that or not, or just the virus itself having a negative impact on your body still.
Or other things,
right? Because, at this point, it could be any one of those factors. Right?
Yes, correct.
I wouldn't rush to get no booster. That's me.
No, okay, you're right.
You understand what I'm saying? That's me. Because nothing in clear yet.
Right.
And I'm waiting for some sort of studies and the science and whoever to see, which we don't know if we'll ever get that.
Yeah.
But we'll still wait.
Right.
Me and Russian to get that neither. I sure I must get COVID about 17 times already. Right?
Listen.
I mean that.
When I say it's rational, what I mean to say is this. Now, as you well know, I am not vaccinated, period, right? So of course I wouldn't, if I go to get it now, it wouldn't be a booster, it would be the first dose. But if I did take it in the beginning, and I believed in its efficacy, then why wouldn't I take another one?
Well, no, to be fair, I think when I took it, it was I don't think it was Delta yet. I can't remember. But I took it in the earlies, right? And at the end of the day, knowing what I knew then compared to what we know about now, about the strains that there are now.
Well, okay, the official line is that boosters have been proven to induce more antibody response. There are questions as to how long that response lasts for, whether that really is improved immunity or not. But we ain't experts in that regard. But the official line is it boosts your antibody response. So therefore, it would help you to fight off if it coming for you, right? So what I'm saying is, if I took the original doses, and I took it because I felt it was safe, right? Then, and I fear that, I may get sick again. Then why not take another one?
Well, I think
I feel it's safe.
No,
I took the first two.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but I think that is a person who operating purely from a level of ignorance and a place of ignorance. If you understand what I'm saying. Why I say that is because, and is the same point I'm now making with, by now, as I say, about 92% of the people get touched.
Right?
Yeah. And we're like, it's not bad. And that's because of a different strain, right? So if at this point, I could understand you being very fearful then with very limited information about the virus itself. I mean, obviously the deaths were higher then. And so I could understand you being fearful and you say, well, boy, I'm taking this now. Right? Even though I might have been questioning how safe it is. You understand?
No. I am assuming that you're not questioning how safe it is.
No,
because I'm being honest with you. If I am not in the reason why I chose not to is because I'm not in an at-risk category. So therefore, I feel like I know what is the risk I'm facing when it comes to COVID. I'm not sure I know the risk that comes with getting jabbed. What could happen 3 years, 5, 10 years from now. So then I would go with that. But so it's either one or two things. It's either one, I have to be convinced that it's safe, or two, I'm in an at-risk category.
Right. So that's how you would see it. But what I have heard people say, even recently, I have heard people say, listen, I prefer take my chances with the risk of the vacuum, right? Than, you understand? Than with the virus.
Right.
I've heard people say that up to quite recently. Because when people tell me, bro, I go in, I feel like, oh, sorry, what's going on? We're paying attention, what's going on?
Yeah.
And
okay, but to be fair though, Naldo, you have to remember that you're saying it might be coming from a position of ignorance, but no official source has said those things cause those problems.
No,
and every time those things come up,
people is dispel it.
That's crazy talk. That's mad people thing. Up to just the other day, I was looking at and
they say it's brilliant idiots, and I was real shocked.
What?
That it might be the vacuum that.
Oh, right.
Causing this.
Right. Well, I mean, you could start to say it now without people shouting you down. But nobody on no official health authorities have come out and even acknowledged that there's a chance that is the case. Who was selling vacuums in the beginning, still selling vacuums now. If you had listened to the press conference last week, everybody other than the Prime Minister was a vacuum salesperson. They spoke non-stop about the need to get a vacuum.
You know who stopped selling vacuum now?
Who?
Chow selling food.
But
Chow selling food. Woodbrook Yard.
Well, he stopped. But the health authorities ain't stop. Right? So you are sitting thinking, and remember, the idea is anything that does not come from them is nonsense, right? That is what has been drilled into the head of into the heads of the members of the public. Once it don't come from we, is nonsense. So you see 100 other people get jabbed, all of them still are wrong, normal. So then, and them may tell you, well, here now, pause, because we seen some now. The CDC in the United States decided that they are now going to investigate because they've seen a safety signal when it comes to strokes. But that is specifically with respect to the bivalent vacuum, the recent one that they come out with, the Pfizer bivalent, right? So they're not talking about mRNAs in general, right? And I think they specifically said strokes in over 65s, right? So they're still saying that what they're acknowledging may be a cause for concern. They haven't proven it, they've seen enough information to now consider that they may need to study it. That is the CDC in the United States. But that's the first little inkling of anybody saying, well, maybe there might be something up. So the average individual is thinking there is no risk. It's like drinking water. Remember that's how it was sold in the first place. It was like there are no risks. Now, that in and of itself has always been a lie, because even the manufacturers of the drugs acknowledge that there are risks. Rare, but still present, right? And for any individual, you don't know what could happen to you.
Right.
Just like with COVID, you don't know what could happen.
Yeah. Anything. Panadol.
Right.
Anything. That's what it is. So.
Right. So, no, but I mean, it's a little bit more significant than Panadol. Right? So, but they've always been selling it like it's water. You understand? I'm not giving you anything that could do you any harm at all. You understand? Almost kind of like with the masks, even if it don't work, so what's the big deal? You know what I mean? Like, what's the, you know? So if you have that mindset that there is no risk attached to the vacuum, right? And you may be misunderstanding or misrepresented, or the risk might be misrepresented to you about what is the risk of COVID now. Why not take another one? You think it's water you drink? It's saline. Well, I mean, when I say it's not inactive like saline, but it's as harmless as saline. So why not? And also on top of that, telling me, hey, this thing popping up again. No, not really popping up again, but let's say that's the way you want to phrase it. It popping up again. I go and get my job and move on. That again makes sense to me, because getting a job is, if it is as effective as they say it is the most sensible thing you could do. When I say sensible, it is the only one of these things that they recommend that actually makes sense, because you wearing a mask, you're not going to wear that all the time. You understand? So it's either one of two things. It's either you're going to say, well, all right, what can I do to strengthen my immune system so that when this thing inevitably hits me, I'm ready, or I'm going to withdraw myself from society completely. But you cannot tell me I could pour a cloth on my face when I stand up outside, but I still going online, I still going to interact, I still going to work, my children still going to school and coming home and talking to me. You know what I mean? And I feel like because this thing on my face that, you know, that is stupidity. That is where the stupidity arises, right? Because this thing is ever present. So unless you're really going to withdraw yourself from society, or you're telling me boys come out with a well-fitted N95, it will come off, or, you know, it's come off for 10 seconds.
I only touch it twice. And if I touch it, you need to have a new one.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right? It's around that, when I put it on, the next man touches, take it off and shoot that way.
You understand where I'm coming from? You're wearing it along with your face shield, whatever. Unless you're doing that, bro, then... I was listening to a podcast today where they had these two scientists on from the US. Both of them from, I can't remember what university they were from, but they're researchers. Both of them, scientists in the healthcare field, right? I think one is an immunologist and the other one was a public health, policy expert. And they were talking about the lack of, like, very robust studies to advocate for mask mandates, right? And they were saying that there were only a few randomized control studies, and of them, only one showed a very, minimal effect, with respect to the rate of spread amongst the population when they asked them to mask, right? And it was only specifically a certain kind of mask. Other cloth masks were just, deemed to be useless. That was the one in Bangladesh. They spoke about the Danish study and so on. And they kept saying, listen, those other studies, many of them were observational studies. Many of them had flaws. In some of the groups, they weren't testing as much as the other groups. Some of them, although the masking continued, they only took a very small section of time. So they studied 6 weeks and said, less spread in the masked group, so therefore it works. But then the rules didn't change, and if they waited 3 more weeks, they would have seen the numbers in the masked group go up just as well. So it didn't replicate itself across time. It just was a very short period of time, and it showed an observational correlation, right? So they went into, I know I didn't read any of these studies they're talking about, right? But, they were on a British podcast and they sounded like reliable individuals and they seemed to be credentialed and so on. So the podcast host was asking them, so why do you think it is that these health authorities, they just kind of bellow this information over and over and over, and they just, they seem to have this huge mask bias. Why? And one of them said, I think it's because it gives them the opportunity to feel like they're doing something. It's something that doesn't cost much. In other words, it doesn't cost you to mandate people wear it. It doesn't, you know what I mean? So they don't want to see any countervailing information. They'll just keep saying, the science says, and then they tell them, no, well, not all science says that. Look, there's a scientific study here that kind of disproves what you're saying. They just ignore it. They just ignore it. So when you hear them come up on a podium and say, you need to be able to, unless you're aware of the countervailing arguments, they could just get away telling you pure bullshit.
Well, I think it should start taking a piece of advice. If anybody tell you the science, no, they're talking shit. Right? Because there's nothing called the science, right? There's science. Because science always changes, different studies, different things, come to light. So from them they say the science, just know that is the wrong science.
No, I mean they could be saying the science from the context of, well, the current data that we have that we've discovered through scientific experiments.
Well, they should say that. Right? The science is a political term. Right?
That means my science. Yeah. That means the science I want to acknowledge.
That means a very specific science. You understand?
Yeah. So. And to be fair, and if you're wondering like why some of these points aren't brought up more often in terms of, those studies that showed not a great deal of efficacy and so on, why those aren't brought into the argument more often, is simply because if these people spent the past 12 months telling you the science, like you just said, the science says, you feel they want to hear now that they were wrong or the science was wrong? No, they don't want to. They don't want to. They're not even going to want to hear that. The media is not going to want to hear that because the media has been shouting at you. The science says. Now, if you ask any one of them, what science is talking about? Quote me the study. Now, some of the epidemiologists might be able to quote the study, right? But some of these journalists the science, where's the study? What was the methodology of that study?
And you see, the problem with the science and science is, the thing is, when you come at one, we got to bring the next side because the other studies and whatnot. Yeah. But when they say the science, that means you come at the one study. You understand what I'm saying? So even though the journalists might be able to say, well, this one study. So that is the science. What about the other science?
Many of them wouldn't even be able to quote the study for you or even give you, because they're not experts, and I'm not an expert either. But the point is, I'm not going around making these pronouncements. I'm not the one going around saying, well, the science says. You saying it. So, and you are telling me what to do. You are prescribing that I take a particular action, and I'm just saying, okay, well, justify it to me. That study, or first of all, can you quote the study? All right, cool. If you can't quote the study, what was the methodology? Were there any flaws in the methodology? Could that study have been flawed in any way, shape, or form? You have no idea. None at all. But they run around shouting from the rooftop like they know what they're talking about, right? And unfortunately, that goes even for those scientists that talk to you from, the lectern or the podium in press conferences. You know what I'm saying? It's a kind of political science because the science is going in all sorts of different directions, but this direction is convenient. This direction is convenient for me, so I am going to adopt this one, right?
Just like politics.
Precisely.
Whatever is convenient to me and whatever I think is the best thing to say at this point in time, that's what you're going with.
But what you think about, and this is kind of on this point, what do you think about this whole kerfuffle about Robert Amar not being allowed in the press conference? And
just tonight my uncle was troubling me about that. How Rowley threw him out or ban him or whatever from.
He did not allow him into the last press conference that they had. Well, and then he went on to explain that because he was asked about it in some event they had Monday. And he was like, it's not every Tom, Dick and Harry who call themselves media, we just inviting and,
I mean, that is wild.
He only inviting mainstream media. So how he phrased it.
But I think Robert Amar is more mainstream media than some of these ACP, whatever, news,
ACP news
and these news. He have a whole radio station that was given a license by the government. So then we're going to take back the license now.
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what that means. I don't know how. And that's one of the things he was criticized for. I can't remember who. I think it was somebody from the MAT or somebody criticized him for not having some standardized procedure to determine who qualifies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like you just say, Robert Amar own a whole station.
Yeah.
And that station has run news on it.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm sure he has reporters who just prepare the news.
Yeah.
Right? So then he might be one of the reporters. He might be
in their talk shows.
Yeah. So he could be. Why can't he be the individual to go and generate information? And I wanted to get your thoughts on that, and I wanted to
I have one simple answer.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Christine Kangaloo.
What is that?
The same way, train your weight wrong and don't care in one way.
Right.
Train your weight wrong and don't care the next way. That's the nature of the beast.
Right. I want to know now, in the age of social media, when most of these mainstream outlets have individuals who do not observe journalistic standards, right? Who do not present entire stories, make every attempt to place the information in context. Because the argument is always, well, yeah, some Tom, I think he say Tom, Dick, or Jane, or whatever, right? Use some arbitrary names now, who call themselves a blogger or whoever, right? The thing is, those people don't have journalistic training, right? So you can't trust in the way they present information because they aren't they haven't gone through the type of training, and they're not part of the machinery that could be trusted to produce sound and news and information, right? But when you look at some of what you see happening on the mainstream media, the CNC3 video, you'll ask yourself the question, so where them training? You're seeing whole stories coming out about people where the ages of the individual would be vital, and it's not there. And not just the reporter didn't see that, but the news editor, whose responsibility it is to oversee that before it go. Let it go. You know what I mean? When it's 2023, bro. Most of these journalists getting the news from social media in the first place.
Well, I mean, the thing is, as we just said, it's all about what you want to use at that point in time, if you understand what I'm saying. Yeah. Because it have some people who doing news on social media doing news better than some of these journalists
providing more context, giving you more information, sometimes more accurate information.
Yeah. So I remember, I think it was the situation with the 2-year-old boy who 2-year-old child, I think, who was walking on the street or whatever the case may be. Yeah. And the woman couldn't catch him and whatever. I remember the headlines on 3 of the dailies, and each one of them spelling name differently,
Yeah.
One of the most popular stories it had in the country at that point in time. And each one of the dailies spelled the child's name differently.
Yeah.
And I was like, how?
What's going on here?
Right?
No information verification.
Yeah. Right? People, obviously, I would think that people went to the home to visit and at least get the correct spelling of the child's name. So where should I start to trust? Or who should I start to trust? So the thing is, when it started box wide like that, but then again, I guess...
And the thing is, I could understand if you're talking about in quote unquote investigative journalism or journalism where verification of information is required, right? So, all right, you could say, well, you should be able to trust the mainstream media with a story about what we're going to talk about later, what went on in Barataria today, right? You might want to trust this, CNC3 news more than somebody who posts on Facebook. Well, this is what I see.
Yeah.
And this is what happened. Because you would hope that CNC3 would have verified information, spoken to, because they're quote unquote trained, they would have gone to more than one person to get consistencies in the story. Then just talk to one person and take your word for it and run with it. They would have talked to the police. Right. But when we're talking about you coming to give a press conference, and all I'm here to do is ask questions. I'm simply here to, first of all, gather the information and possibly ask questions of you. I don't understand why the person from CNC3 is more qualified to be able to do that. Because I own my radio. I have a voice. I broadcast to people. So then why shouldn't I be there to ask a question of you? To first of all, to get the information firsthand, and then possibly ask you a question.
Let me ask you a question, right? What do you think, let's just be wild with this. What do you think the possible qualification should be?
To be allowed into a press conference?
Into a press conference with the Prime Minister of Trinidad.
I think you should be able to be said to have a public platform. And if it is your public platform is purely digital in terms of it's an internet platform, be it social media or your own website or blog page or whatever, YouTube channel, then they should have a certain number of subscribers, followers, viewers, whatever, to qualify, right? And if it is that and then past that, anybody with a
broadcast license.
That would fall on
once our license to broadcast in Trinidad and Tobago.
TV station, radio station, wherever it is, then you should be. So, and if we're going to bring in digital people, then you have to meet a particular threshold in terms of your followers.
Right.
And that's only because we can't have a press conference with everybody. Because then everybody could ask, and it could go on forever. But I don't even feel like you more qualified because you have more followers. But that's just an easy way to create a cutoff point so you don't have 1 million people in the press conference. Or you could even have 1 million people in the press conference, but just only allow a certain number of questions.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And make that random. Don't have it where, the Prime Minister could, or the communications officer from the office of the Prime Minister could say, not he, not she. You know what I mean? And only ask questions from the people that they favor. So the only reason I would want to limit it would be because understandably the press conference can't go on forever.
Yeah.
You understand? But I don't believe in any journalistic credentials anymore. These people producing dog shit every day on newspapers, on the television is just awful, presenting one-sided stories all the time, not giving you adequate information for you to understand.
So maybe that's why when you done, still lost.
I have more questions than before I started to read, bro. Many times, and this is why I find it so irritating that he's kind of holding up these organizations to these, this high standard or giving them this sort of praise because of their profile. Because I am so sick and fed up of hearing about something on social media or in passing conversation, going to the official mainstream news sources to get answers, to understand what's going on, and come out from that with more questions than when I went into it. What is happening here? It's best I'd stay with the he say, she say I heard on social media or from a brethren or my sister or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? So to see that every day, and then you come and say, well, no, only these mainstream people are allowed coming out. You hear so many questions some of them you asking. In that same press conference, it was like, how many times the man had to say, rising cases, not in and of itself a cause for concern. Say that 1,000 times now, dude.
And they just keep asking it. Question different ways.
We're seeing cases happening in Georgia, and Jesus Christ. Send somebody from heaven to help. Because what's going on here? Look, today I read opinion piece, a column. It wasn't just a letter to the editor, but it was a columnist from, I believe, the Express, talking about how we should not be caught unawares by XBB 1.5, whatever, new COVID strain, right? Or by COVID in general. The argument being, listen, in 2020, we didn't know what was going on, but now we know what's going on. We shouldn't come and let us catch we with pants down. Right. Okay, so I am thinking, all right, let me hear what this person is prescribing. Person goes on to talk about what they're doing in Europe. Now, he's just saying places in Europe. I don't know which places.
Yeah.
He's saying they're doing this in the US. He said it in Guyana. they bring back testing, right? Right. He just goes on to talk about the new strain. He says about 1 million times, yes, we understand it doesn't, with no evidence, it produces more, it's not a more virulent strain, produces more severe illness. Yes, but more cases is still a cause for concern, right? So what we waiting on to take some of these measures? The Prime Minister, in his press conference, said, listen, the strains that are of concern are here already and have been circulating since November last year. What would closing the borders do? But this person wrote a long article, watery article, blah, 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 with no prescriptions as to what precisely could be done. Kind of suggesting, well, in other words, simply saying, well, other places doing something, why we don't do something too? Without even justifying whether those things that are being done make any sense. What is that? And that's in a mainstream news publication. Nobody's like, yeah, but this whole long thing, so what are we supposed to do? What are you trying to say? Because you ain't saying lockdown. You ain't saying cancel Carnival. You ain't saying everybody stay in your house. So then what are you really saying? What are we supposed to do? Okay, I'm informed. We know this is out there now. What do we do? Look, Guyana putting thing with can't be COVID positive and coming. What sense that make? There are no COVID in Guyana already? And if COVID in Guyana is already there, and there are no restrictions being put in place to stop the mingling of the people in Guyana, what will stop the COVID that there from spreading?
Well, what they're saying is, don't bring no new COVID. But the thing is, we live in a time where everybody has a voice. And I think because everybody has a voice now, people, one, they don't take the time to put what they're putting out. You know what I'm saying? Like they're saying, somebody saying that, they say, long time when you have to write something to a company, write a letter to a company because this going to affect or whatever.
Take long to plan it.
Because this one letter might be the one letter that hit in, and you understand? But no, because everybody, you could just write on Facebook, you could write here, you could put on your camera and talk someday. Now everybody just talk without thinking. You know what I'm saying?
But the thing is, that would be, if it was somebody who was just posting on social media, that would be fine. But to the point of, the mainstream media is...
Yeah, but this person could as well a letter to the editor, right?
No, he's a columnist.
He's a columnist. Okay.
Yeah. So a contributor to the newspaper who is credentialed in... When I read to the bottom, he wasn't even a scientist. He was a professor of English or some shit like that. Right? I mean, not to say that if you're not a scientist, you can't talk about.
But what I would say is, if you're a professor of English, you should be able to know how to write an essay with a beginning, a middle, and an end.
It had all those things. It just had no substance to it. There was nothing in it. There was nothing.
But if in the end, it didn't say what to do. You can't no end.
But that's not the quality of the. That's not due to the quality of the writing. That's just the quality of thinking. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like. And this is what I've always said. These people feel like if just fear of the COVID in and of itself will protect you. Like, just the other day I was asking somebody that. Somebody, they going through all that nonsense. Oh, I hear this, I hear that, I hear that. Okay. All right, let's say all of what you're hearing is true. So what? We're going to go back in our hole now? Well, boy, even though because how things is now, the economy thing, we can't really afford to... So then what is your prescription? This information that you're giving, you just want me to be scared with you. So that's all you want. You want me to be scared with you because I don't understand what is the next step.
Well, the next step, right? And the kind of switches up. The next step is, if you're frightened, pull in your hole, stay in your hole, tell your boss you're working from home, or you're leaving the work.
Right.
You know, as the situation might be. And you ain't coming out in no Fete.
Right.
You ain't participating in Carnival.
Right.
Carnival 2023 not seeing you.
Yeah, precisely. And some people will do that, to be fair to them. They will do that. I don't know why they're so concerned, but they want everybody else to do it. But, I guess they don't want to see...
Some people like to stay alone.
But, I guess so. But I guess what they want is to have their fears justified. But, so do you think that... Because I've been hearing, I haven't been fetting... As we, went through a whole thing last week about how the music is shit. And it's really making me feel to go out there, right? A little broken too, so, But on top of that, I would have fight the brokenness.
Well, dog, I think even if you're okay, you can't afford the Fete right now, but anyhow.
Right, we'll get to that. I would have fight the brokenness if the vibes was out there, but people will say, oh, Christmas in the year, I ain't feeling like it like this Christmas. I feel like that is with Carnival now. If I don't go on social media, bro, I don't even know Carnival taking place.
But what I would tell you though, is if you hit the road in the night, especially in Tong, it is nobody. It is real active, boy, dog.
Well, I get right. I don't be in Tong.
Yeah, in Tong, in weekends and things, like from Thursday, Tong just real active, real people, real movement.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, boy. It's in the air down here.
Right.
But of course, and again, certain things in the savannah and things, like, there are different things probably that are not too popular to us.
Yeah.
But where,
Right, yeah. You go see it, right.
And I hear it now, boy.
True.
Loud in the savannah, like, also, I don't know, something crank up a day we were in work day and this would have been like a music truck or something. And so people car alarm went off. I tell a man who buy a brand new car, dog, right? He ain't install no alarm in the car. And he found out that day that he car have alarm. He found out on that day that the car does make noise as an alarm.
That was the thing we call them was involving Fayan and them, where the zoo.
So I don't know. We were in the office, and then we were car alarms going off, and a man was like, "Hey, that your car alarm going off, right?" Man said, "No, my car alarm." Man said, "Nobody likes blinking. He can't make a noise." No, tell him I can't alarm. Me putting alarm. Dog, he can't make a noise.
You have a pre-install alarm, and he didn't know that.
And he didn't know that. But wherever it is, brother, crank.
But you don't chirp anyway.
I don't chirp.
Alright, okay.
Depends like that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it don't chirp. It's just normal key. It don't chirp.
Right.
But if something real heavy shake it does make noise.
Right.
Yeah, so the thing is, dong and tong. Yeah, things are under kind of a couple of bit, yeah.
Well, boy, I don't be in Tong at all, really. I was in Tong sometime last week, but it was during the day. I'll be in Tong in the morning too, but it wouldn't be like when you are around, right? If I was still living in Belmont, I'd probably feel that vibes, but I ain't feeling nothing at all upon.
And then, the hot and them start to build in the savannah, dog.
I seen hot all over the place too.
Yeah.
You seen them thing? My wife pointed out to me today some little green and yellow huts just in little plot of land around it. I seen, but what are building up them thing for? They're gonna have parade in Arima or something? Or
probably, It is the mother of all carnivals, That
supposed to be.
That right now looking like a stepmother. Because some of them fat on them.
Right. So the point I was getting is I not fetting, right? So I can't say for sure, but I'm hearing that Fete missing. Fetes missing. Plenty Fetes missing. Right? And it's supposed to be that we in Carnival, well, we party in Far but we have a Carnival. We in Fete. Yeah. In X amount of years, right? So it should be that everybody running out. So do you feel that is COVID keeping people inside?
No, boy, I don't feel as that, no. I feel as money, boy, dog, boy. Because a lot of people I talking to now, they kind of saving the money for the Fetes that they no good now, right?
Feel good, be good.
Yeah, well, like for instance, talk to somebody who went black to blue, second Sunday, and
I hear that make.
Yeah, second Sunday did well. I hear a lot of people talk about that.
Which is amazing to me because he don't have no good music, but go ahead.
Well, for this year, I mean, or in general?
A while. Like for a good while.
I think he's one of the artists for whatever reason, like he's connect directly with his market or the market or something like that.
But you could tell me, where's the last second star you find out was hitting? Even pre-COVID,
I would say King and Queens.
And how long that was?
A few years. I was still working with you then.
Yeah. So he could still the fact that he trained Fete.
But I think he real close to his crowd. I think he's
but his crowd that big to make it sound.
Apparently.
Why? And why is his crowd so big?
I don't know. He big. I don't know. But clearly it did well. It did.
No. I'm not doubting it.
No, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
As you brought it up, it's confusing to me because and people feel like just trying to say it's a disrespect. I know. I will ask anybody. Was the last time he had a song that was up there?
And he had the
And artists who have songs up there that struggle to bring people out, dog. So wait is about him. Wait is about him, man. Because listen, and nobody could front on that. What metric you're using to tell me you have a hit? What, you know what I mean? What metric you're using? So,
but
anyway,
yeah,
I guess I track.
And the girl was saying, she said, "What are you arguing on right now?" She said, "Black to Blue wasn't that vibe." She said she and her team had to make sure that the vibes was on 100 now, boy. And she just saying, she said second show was a good show, but to her, you know, she didn't get the real party Fete vibes from it. She was a real good show, right? Well put together and thing, but she said
a concert.
Yeah, you know, and so she was saying she wanna save her money to go what she know will be real vibes. And she say Rise and Roast. She say she sure Rise and Roast could be real vibes for now, boy. She sure about that.
I hear all this talk about the Fete prices, right? So I went and checked it out. I went on one of them Ticket Federation website thing to check out what the prices are looking like. It seemed to me that it's really just the all-inclusives that going wild. You know? No, all right. Cooler Fetes going for that used to be 350, 400 is now 5, 6, right? But you could kind of expect that in terms of everything, price of everything going up now, right?
The price of the things that they using in Cooler Fete going up too?
Well, the price of everything. The price of everything. I mean, remember, I'm doing this for a profit. $100 profit would have had a certain purchasing power 2 years ago. Now it doesn't. So you know, if I want to make if I want more profit to keep up with inflation, the price will go up. You know what I mean? But it's them all inclusive that them just seem to have gone from what was $900 is now $1,400 and $1,500. What the mother neck is wrong with these people, boy?
Really, food more expensive too. Them have to buy all them things to serve you. Them things more expensive too. Like right now, I don't know if it's
but
like the other day we went a couple places, like real small places. I'm not talking about no big restaurant doors. And real people just did not shrimp. I don't know if that a shortage of shrimp or if shrimp was just too expensive for them to buy, but real people did not shrimp. So let me just say the situation might be to have a shortage of shrimp, so the price of shrimp expensive. They might want to get shrimp in them all inclusive. They might want to get whoever, and the prices. No, I'm not saying that justifies it, and they should spend their money and whatever. But I watch an Army Fete, dog. Army Fete is $400 for general, dog. Starting.
Right.
That is ridiculous, dog.
But how much Army Fete was before? Army Fete wasn't $300.
I'm up in $8.
Yeah, but that's a million years ago.
Yeah, I know, but
Army Fete was like $300 pre-COVID, dog. $300 and $350 for general.
Serious, right?
And VIP was all kind of jackassing $800 and $900, all kind of shit. Yeah, because Army Fete has tried to be, I used to call it the hood fab Fete. You know what I mean? They have, is the only surviving
big Fete.
Traditional Fete, right? And from like fire licensing, blah, 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 right? It's the only surviving one of those. And I think the way they survived was by kind of branding this. I can't remember the last Army I went, it was real, when I say stush, it was real dead. It wasn't like, you know, you feel, oh, well, I ain't going them bougie uptown Fete. I come to Army, I go see big flag thing and man bareback. No, dog, that girl in high heels and I talking about that was about maybe, could be 8 years ago, 9 years ago.
Did them going to pick up Army, man?
It was even longer than that because I remember where I was working at the point in time and that was before I even met you. You understand? And it had girl in high heel and thing. In high heels and thing. And so since then, they're trying to push themselves as a kind of no groundsman Fete now, but it's a little bit up there. And so I guess they just, you know, they move with inflation because Army wasn't cheap before. Army was no $100 to go before.
Boy, I being honest, I mean, I haven't paid to go off at, I don't think ever, to be fair. But I think 400, no coolers.
Yeah.
Army Fete.
Yeah. I agree.
That's crazy, 100%. Dog. And I could tell you, if my wife might be more of the person who might want to go, you know, something. She just want to go see what like, whatever. She's not a big party, but hey, it's Carnival, let you do something. And I could tell you, if she had tell me, let you go Army Fete $400?
No.
That happening.
No.
Yeah.
No, I remember last time I went out, it was shit.
Mm.
You understand? So worse yet now that I don't even have good memories of the Fete, you know what I mean? And now you're charging me $400 and I can't go with my own drinks. I can't even say like buy my bottle of Hennessy and I die my thing and I go with I buy it in the quick shop.
Yeah.
And you know, I if I go inside it to buy a bottle of Hennessy, how much you go charge me? You know
$600.
You think? So for Army Fete, nah bro, I not doing that. So I agree. I 100% agree. No. Okay.
Go ahead.
No, you're
no. So I was going to say. So I think that might be a part. Like because if now you had a budget where you spend your money, I think you would be very meticulous in who you're going to. You're paying the big money, you know, but I'm not going to get anybody at one. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I can't get everybody because I don't have unlimited funds. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So I think that is what happened until the last week when people started touching now, boy. The foreigners started touching. And they had the money saving 2 or 3 years now. Yeah. The US.
Yeah. And then you feel them fat and them go full up.
Yeah.
I think COVID is affecting it too.
Serious?
Yeah. I think that for every one of them fetes, there would be 100 people who would have come out if they didn't have fear for COVID. And depending on the size of your fete, minimum 100, right? And depending on the size of your fete, that could make a big difference. 100, 150 people who, you know, and okay, because remember, these fetes would have the diehards, right? Who you could charge $1 million to go find it and come, right? Or there's Carnival babies, you know, the Camus Fete, the Hatter Fete, right? But then, you know, some is just at one time their birthday happened to fall on the day of the Fete, so we
go in this.
We go in this.
Wrongs up the team.
Know, family come down for the normally I don't really Fete, but family come down want to go some right. There are plenty of them people who just like, nah, I'm not taking a risk though. I'm not going out there and fighting up with that. And I could come home and get sick and you know what I mean? And I think that is what I'm not saying it's the only thing. I'm saying if the money had nothing to do with it. But I also think that there's an element of that. I think there's an element of people who would normally be jumping in a 2 Fete or 3 Fete who just like, nah. And I think also that the years without it kind of make some people feel like...
I think that have a real big part to play in it because what I've found is that I think it's a reality. You know, normally sometimes you go through a certain degree of maturity at a certain different phases or age points in your life, right? So I think what happened was you might have been tapering off from the fetting thing or calming down from it.
Yeah.
And then this 2 years come and hit you and say, all right, well,
fuck that.
me beating up again. Yeah,
I don't know that.
Me really care about anything again.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. People who were already looking to age out of it, to phase out of it. And now it's just like, well, yeah.
And I also think too, if like some people, if it didn't stop, you might have been able to continue. But because you stopped.
That's what I mean. You were phasing out of it in the first place, yeah? But, you know, every year you kind of have a routine, your friends just call it, just jump on.
And you go.
Right. And these 2 years past here, we didn't have none of that. And you're just like, nah, bro, I could. And on top of that, the music is fuckery, dog. There is nothing out there making people
want to draw people out?
To jump out themselves, dog. There has been no music drop this year that is indicative of the mother of all carnivals. Let's be real.
Still, give Bungie that, boy. Only because Bungie giving us a Bungie pre-Fian, right? Yeah, you know, when you went back to almost the original Bungie, you know, for the mother of all carnivals, you know, I don't know if you put out Fian for the 2 weeks before you wrote the song.
but I hear Fian mashing up the fetes more than he in terms of moving the crowd. I know not that her tune's bigger, but I hear she really getting the people to move in the fete on them. So I've
always said that Fian and the female artist in Trinidad and Tobago, she is the best at billing songs. She is the best at crowd work, right? In the Caribbean, I don't think there's any female artist
Like
in soca, like her.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, she's the one who has decided the crowd, and she started doing that way for Bungie, and then corporate Bungie into it.
Yeah.
So, I can see she tearing up the place even more. But what about the Kessa and Shaggy? Yeah, that song's very commercial Caribbean to me.
Yeah.
It you know, it sounds like a song that
to play on a cruise ship.
Yeah. I ain't hear that and feel like Carnival.
Yeah. I find the Marshall voice and what you calling yourself now? Agent Sasko? Assassin or
yeah.
I heard the combination of artists and I thought, all right, we could do something here. Because like Assassin, no, to be fair, I mean, he days done in dancehall and he like Killerly because he now crossing over, right? But I mean, when he was in his heyday, I used to like to hear a tune from him. He's a lyricist, he bad. And he voice bad. So I think in him, voice, and Marshall, they should put on a tune.
Nothing.
2-2, you know. 2-2.
I couldn't see that combination, to be honest.
2-2. You know? I mean, I couldn't see it beforehand, but when I hear the three of them doing a song together, I'm thinking, all right, let me see what it's about. 2-2, boy. 2-2.
It's about Mr. Killer. I kind of attribute to Shadow. I think he call it turn your party into a juve or turning your party into a juve, something like that. That seemed like you had some dread vibes. He teased it this week here on social media. It seemed like it have a little vibes to it.
Well, it's Mr. Killer, so
right?
Vibes and he just kind of go together.
What I realized, though, not saying that you doing this, a lot of people mixing up Mr. Killer and Trinidad Killer, boy. Yeah. I've been seeing people on social media talking about Mr. Killer.
Young people. I think there's a group of people who would like young people coming of age now who, because remember Mr. Killer did have a run with it however long ago, right? But if he wasn't into soca then and he was into Zestin, he go no Trinidad Killer.
Right,
so the only name you know as associated to soca now is Trinidad Killer. So when you hear Killer, you're just thinking, all right, well, is that Killer? Is he Killer?
Nah,
but I think there had to be a little trend though.
No, but people writing, so they're talking about Trinidad Killer song and saying Mr. Killer.
Ratted.
Yeah, I saw that like twice or 3 times this week and I was like, Mr. Killer. And I was like, and then people talking about Ride On. We going Ride On till we lie down. Yeah. And Mr. Killer.
Wow.
So we're not even mixing up the killers, yeah?
Yeah.
Right?
That's a problem.
Yeah, so I think all the killers, they'll need to sort
come together and have some kind of meeting and decide who and keep the name.
Yeah, who wants to stop killing and who win and, you know, whatever. Well, they figure it out now, boy.
But I real disappointed, bro. I real disappointed. Even I was song. Shit. But usually I say all I would have sung like shit. Yeah. And then
it's pick up.
But nah, that one.
You ain't seen it picking up.
Nah, boy.
You had to be in a Fete. Yeah, you had to hear it loud.
I ain't go here then. I mean, because you had to make me want to come to the Fete.
What about home by you right there? You ain't know they ain't playing soca?
They don't play soca.
Right? Okay.
They don't play soca, right? Only Zest and reggae.
Oh, good.
Zest and reggae. Is extremes. Is either Young Brother or Bears Hammer.
No.
A real wide range thing. So yeah.
But no soca.
No soca. No soca. But I disappointed, bro. I real disappointed. Like I tell you that voice, I hear the voice and it make me feel to go Panama.
Right.
Something I never ever feel to do in my life. And I say, where the song to make me want to Fete like that? Where the song I hear, nah boy, dog. I had to be in a Fete. I had to see that song.
It didn't come out yet.
What are we waiting on, dog?
I don't know.
It's almost freaking February.
Yeah, but the studio's busy. These producers busy. There's plenty artists. There's plenty thing. You understand?
I see soca, the breakfast party or breakfast. It's called
the street party.
No, the normal one. When they started before they had the street party, the normal soca. I see that one we kind of reasonably priced, 500. for girls, I think 600 for men. The cooler Fete.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, that's expensive, but I was expecting them to get real wild. You know what I mean? If people, everybody out there if all inclusive could show 500 on the Fete price, normal, then I thought them would have do that. But the cooler Fete price, or the cooler Fetes and them not so out of time, no. They're not so out of time, man. Even, I think, what you call them, Shades, which is a food inclusive, you call it all inclusive breakfast party. It was like 100 US, 120 US, something, which is normal price, 120, 130, somebody.
But
right?
that's food inclusive. But what about drinks?
Yeah, drinks inclusive.
Drinks inclusive too.
But it's not like an all inclusive where you have top notch.
Yeah.
Drinks at your disposal, or even food.
Right. Again, basic roti, doubles, bacon shack.
Yeah, sandwiches, them kind of thing. And drinks you'll get like a normal kind of free drinks vibes. So,
well, Sienna, I don't know. I think not being a DJ so long, I get spoiled, dog. I being real honest because I confuse, I being honest. I never used to study the prices of them things, right? I mean, I hear people talk about it. I never studied it. I am trying to picture myself now going into my pocket or going into my bank account and paying $600 a ticket for a party, $500 a ticket for a party, and I'm like, how I always do that? Like, well, I probably get real spoiled now. Boy.
No. Well, I think if your party, I want to say like how I party, but I telling you this. I've gone to parties where if you charge me $5,000 now for that same experience, I would pay.
You pay it, yeah.
If I didn't spend my last $5,000 to do it, but that was so much fun. I would pay because I'm a person. My thing is I would much rather spend money for experiences than things, right? Because it's memories. That is what when on my deathbed, me go vex and then buy a TV, or a pair of shoes. I didn't experience particular things, right? It's memory, is experiences you'll miss when time goes by. So that is why I think, so I don't vex with people who spend money on experiences.
And me vex with them neither. I just say it's hard for me. And if you could spend that money, if you had the money to spend, or you're bored the money to spend, hey, kudos to you. Me ain't here to judge somebody with that. You understand what I'm saying? I just say for me, dog, my wife wanted to go Fatima, right? So I said, Dan, it's not a scene, dog. I go drop here, I go pick you up. It's not a scene, right? Cool. So she organized her ticket and whatever the case may be. And then she asked me about 6 times, dog. So you ain't going? You sure you ain't want to go? You sure you want to go? So I said, boy, I got it. It seemed like you really want me to go this thing. So the person, I had to drop the money for the person actually tonight, right? To buy the ticket was.
And when you see
and Jude, I pass the bank and I'm straight on the dog. No, I pass the bank and I should stop and take out this money. I don't want to do that though. So I drive and I pass the next bank and I can't see myself doing this, dog. Like, it's hard.
No, but I agree. I wouldn't do that for Fatima, right? I wouldn't do that for no one inclusive.
No, the thing for me, and I told her this, the only reason I'd be willing to probably do it for Fatima, one of them all inclusive that have decent food is for the next YouTube channel with the food, right? And I still wanted to kind of find out. I was like, come with my camera. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, I could and shoot my phone too, but the best when I'm going to have a proper production, dog. I feel like I want to carry lights. I think I want to carry lights, mics, my camera. I want proper production checking out this food. That's the only way in. I could justify that in my mind and hope that friggin' thing do so good on YouTube I can make some money to pay back at least half the price of the ticket. That is the only thing that...
listen, if fetting is not that big an experience for you, then I understand. When I say I was going to say like, if you party like how I party or whatever, right? No, I don't know how you enjoy yourself, but I've gone to some parties and me and my friends, we've partied in the past where, dog, like, 3, 4, 5 days later, you still on how bad that party was. I mean, years later, when we meet, we talk about them thing, right? Because it was that much fun. If you had that experience, or if something was that good to you, then you would, if you can't afford it, of course, like, oh God, boy, this year I can't do that, boy. But if you never experience in a Fete, then I wouldn't suggest paying for that either. You know what I'm saying?
You know what it is for me? I have a lot of false pride in Trinidad. Mm-hmm. Because every time I partied and had a good time was outside of Trinidad. Mm-hmm. And you know how this go here in the business here in the industry, you have a image to upkeep and whatever. Mm-hmm. And then probably back then it was very important. We kind of see face with no relationships too, you know. But I see a man how they behave. Because I had some degree of popularity, so it's very easy. Hey, look now, low, and he is behaving badly, right? Yeah. But when I go out there, though, when I fly out the party, woo, boy.
No, and I will tell you, the money at the party, when I'm talking to you, the many of the parties I'm thinking about weren't here either, but there was some here. But most of the parties I'm talking about, right, if you tell me, hey, you pay $5,000 for that, yeah, I'll do that again. And I will pay 5,000 for it. Most of them was outside too. Yeah. But that's not because of force, Brian. I just find, in the case of BIM, I just find their Carnival is better than, I've had much better experiences in Crop Over than here in Trinidad. I don't know. I don't know if it's partying as a foreigner, they just feel different, it just be different. You go and you don't know nobody, or I don't know. I just find like when you're not here and you're amongst people you don't know, I think there's also something to being a visitor to people's place where, you know, people who know you're a visitor, you make friends and then it just instantly draw people in. And then it just help to make the party better. When you're here, you go to a party and you just stay with the people you go with. Right. It's just you. Yeah. When you go there as a visitor, you're going and you're looking for friends.
But to be fair though, I think for whatever reason too, out there in those places, people way more open. Here, when you go to a party here, people real kind of uptight, especially if you go them kind of uptown-ish kind of parties. Yeah. People real kind of uptight now, but even if you go them same kind of uptown parties, that same tri-party out there. Yeah. You understand?
It's different,
It's different. Even the same friggin' Trinis who just play uptight here. When you see them over there, let's be real invited too. Let's be real cool too. You understand what I'm saying? And then their people, let's be cool too. Yeah. So,
something about it does make it better when it not here. You're right about that. And so them kind of experiences, I would pay. As I say, you charge me $5,000 and I had the money. Yeah, I'd say let me do it again. But they have nothing in this world I feel I could experience in Fatima that could make me want to pay $1,500. You on drugs or what? What on earth I can? Because all inclusives to me are just a kind of you know, like a nice night out with your significant other. I wouldn't go on all-inclusive with my brethrens. Right. You know what I'm saying? That don't make no sense to me because, you know, all-inclusive is a kind of reserved kind of vibes. It could get vibesy, but the kind of vibes you want to enjoy with your significant other, not you and your partners go. So, I don't know what, you know, anyone at CIC or QRC or anyone could give me that could make me want to spend over $1,000.
Well, here we go, boy.
To jump up in them Fete.
All I want to see is food, dog.
I know you say that. I can't see myself. If I want food, I'll go to a restaurant.
Right? And I go in with low motel. I take in low motel before I start. It's not a feel to want to shit at no point in there, dog. I go shit 2 days after, dog. And so on toilet for a good 3 hours now, way. I looking at them hard, dog. And you know me, I shouldn't be taking much carbs, so I look into hit your meat. I look into hit your meat.
I was trying to explain to somebody that they like, you know, if Texas de Brazil tell me pay $1,500 for all they could eat, I am not doing that. I'm not doing. Well, how much? Because just how much meat? No. To be honest, depending on the cut of steak or whatever, it is possible to eat $1,500 worth of meat and eat it very quickly too. But they don't sell that there. They don't sell them cuts of meat there. So how much of their meat I had to eat to feel like I eat back my $1,500? Boy, you had to roll me out of Texas, Brazil, Texas, and I love meat just like you. You had to roll me out of that restaurant for me to say I eat back that amount of meat. So I go and go a Fete to eat like that and start to feel sick when I stand up and the little enjoyment I want to have, I can't have that now because...
Well, do you want that enjoyment? I do want to dance. I don't want to... I must live there and not know who perform. You understand what I'm saying? If I know who perform, it's got the line was too long for me to get what I had to eat. Right. You understand?
Listen, I mean, I went a few all-inclusives. I went QRC a couple of times. And I would say, for what they are, they were enjoyable, right? As I say, you go out, well, in my case, I went with my wife on both occasions. We went with family members, friends. Well, especially curiosity, you're going to meet everybody, right? So it was a cool line. I would have never paid 800. I think 800 was the price then, right? I would have never paid that for it. But, it was both times I didn't have to pay, and, I went and it was decent. But I wouldn't pay $800. I wouldn't have paid $800 then. Much just to tell me to pay.
How much is this now? Curiosity this
year? They
ain't
put out the price yet.
Serious?
Yeah, they ain't put out the price yet.
What?
I don't know.
You see, like the soccer there, they ain't put it out yet, dog. And like the soccer, they ain't put it out yet.
I do know if they're waiting to see if CIC and them, if them loud prices, seeing a kind of reduction in patronage or whatever. Because I hear something about CIC, but I don't want to talk it here because it ain't official now. So, I know. But they might, if they're waiting to see how them things going before they put their price. But I ain't see the price yet. Maybe the price is out, but it's not on none of them websites, right? So I know how much them charging. But I can't, 1,000, dog, those experiences, apart from the fact, because the thing is, I just only really drink Hennessy, so your free drinks don't really bother me now.
Yeah. I
could buy a bottle if you just let me come in with my bottle of Hennessy and my 2 can of Monster, I good. I good with that. I don't want to drink your wine and your Moscato and none of them shit don't interest me now, boy. So, you know what I mean? And okay, and I don't like to stand up and eat.
Right.
I don't understand the point of that. I like going to a party and then there's food after.
Right.
Or food before or food after. Or you see like how Booze Cruise and them used to do it in BIM where you have a whole like a restaurant, a whole sit down section. So you can leave the party.
Come sit down,
eat thing, jib, whatever. When your food settle, you get up and you go back and you rejoin the party. Something like that. I could deal with that. But I don't really like the idea of signing up and eating and moving. I don't like to sign up and eat at all. Right. So your food don't really interest me, and your free drinks, I don't drink Macatas and not Macatas, where's the fancy Scotch people that's run now?
Johnny Walker?
No, the one in the blue thing, the one it be in a blue label bottle, a clear bottle with not Johnny Walker blue label, but the label itself is blue on in a clear bottle. Oh God! And everybody who want to play this top notch whiskey drinkers is rated. Wherever it is, but none of them thing don't interest me. I just want a bottle of Hennessy. You know what I'm saying? So I could never get my money's worth from that.
Well, boy, YouTube is yes, boy.
Yeah, I would have liked, as I was telling you, I would have loved to be going and fetting so we could come here and talk about them first hand, talk about performances, who was shit, who was good. But
the team in work want to do soca for her. So if I go that, we can talk about that.
Well, you can talk about
you know soca for her?
No way.
That is Ladies Night Out with a different name.
Oh, okay. I never knew about that.
Long time I used to really like to go there, no?
Because I real girl?
Yeah, real girl, boy. And it's a particular type of girl now, boy. And nearly makes a real bad statement, you know? Alright, just want to regroup. The type of girls now, boy. I was going to say something, but I don't say it like that. Right?
Top notch thing?
No, not that. That's not what I was going to say. I don't want to say low hanging fruit. That was sound bad.
Loose birds?
No, not necessarily loose. But
low self-esteem, girl?
I was going to say low self-confidence.
Okay.
Yeah, you know?
Right,
not all, but I mean...
But why you think that Fete so draw them in?
I don't know why. Because there was one of them Fete, you didn't have to know somebody to get a ticket and know a committee member. And one of them Fete go buy cleaves and buy tickets. So, and it didn't have this level of prestige behind it. You understand? As a man said today, boy... He invited in Randy Glasgow, boy. That's, you understand what I'm saying? But yeah, it didn't have it didn't carry a certain degree of prestige. And it wasn't them, I don't know, somebody link a committee member. So it was the average girl. Let me say that. There's the average. Nice looking, but the average person.
Know what I find what Fete I used to find harder? And when it mash up, it was real. It hurt my heart because I was just telling you about mostly Fetes has been foreign, but there have a few that was here. Insomnia. I find Insomnia used to have the most down-to-earth girls, but there wasn't, it eventually Fete did get kind of grimy, it did get ghetto, but it didn't reach, it wasn't ghetto yet. But it just had girls who used to come out there and like they're nice, but they don't feel they're nice, so they ain't acting like they feel is all that. They moving like if, they're moving more like if you are the prize rather than them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was a fete I used to go to, and you lose count of the girl that come to wine on you. Girl, you don't know what you're talking about. You understand what I'm saying? Don't know you come to wine on you. I used to find that Insomnia for some weird reason. I never figured out what I was. But I used to get that same vibes from Insomnia. And when that fete started to go downhill, it's like, oh God, boy, that fete used to be real bad. Some of my best local partying memories was Day and Pier 1.
Pier 1 Kula Fete, yeah, boy, dog, boy. If you remember Pier 1 Kula Fete for the people who listening, who viewing. Yeah, boy, Pier 1 and I run for years,
Yep.
I think the most I pay to go Pier 1 Kula Fete must be 140. Probably 120.
I think 80 was the most I used to pay.
I thinking, right, must reach that high. But yeah, boy, Pier 1 Kula Fete. Listen, I used to tell people, when you go Pier 1 Kula Fete long time, and you trip and bong somebody, the hole in you and they start to jump and party, dog. No kind of, so they have violence and that crazy. They jump on, you bong somebody and you fall and hey, come, take a beer. Hold something to drink. And people just gain their drinks. Oh, see, you could have go to a party out of cooler and get real drunk. Because you had to ask somebody for a drink. But Pier 1 Kula Fete was one of the greatest.
And you know how I know them Fete was good? Because then I never used to drink, I started drinking till maybe less than 10 years ago. I started drinking.
Marriage is with that.
And the funny thing is, if the year I started drinking was ready the year again, that was the first crop over I went, 2012. That was just happened to be the year when I got married. But I just, for some reason, you know what it was? We went across there, we didn't have no idea, because we just get the idea, hey, let go crop over. We nearly talk to nobody, we link with no Bajans, no Trinis who just go over there. I just, something come in my head, let me go crop over, and I say, let me go. So we went over there as crop over virgins now, boy, and didn't know nothing about, and the first day we was there, was like, what's this looking like real shit? And so we went by a bar, and he's like, them for as a dog, you spend real money, all of we spend real money to come here, and this thing looking like real shit, you had to drink, dog? Like, nah, boy, ting, and the bartender, they come up, boy, this man don't drink, ting, give him something now, and the man, he makes a drink and he bring it, he say, hey, listen, this on the house, so don't make me waste this. I say, alright, and I started drink and, boy, I feeling good. This ain't doing nothing. And I can't remember what to see it give me. About 4 or 5 drinks later, we get up. That was the Friday morning, as you know, it's the Saturday morning, and that was the Friday. So he's leaving from there to go back to the hotel to get ready to go. Dog. And from the bar we was lying at to the hotel, I just jolly, I just jolly. I ain't stumbling, I ain't falling. I just glad, And I just keep saying to myself, dog, wait now, this how all this feel all the time? Nah! I can't go a party and not drink again. And since then, but them early Pier 1s and Insomnia and thing, I was sober. And them Fete was bad.
Still have blast.
And them Fete was bad.
I used to drink plenty from a long time, so I was turning up a long time.
I used to I don't know why. I just always feel like I really don't like not being in control now, boy. And I always felt like I didn't think you could get buzzed or tipsy or even drunk and still maintain control. The way I used to see people behaving wrong.
Right, yeah.
Like, I can't behave like I can't behave.
You can't drink and get done.
No, I can't do that. And I don't like the taste of alcohol either. Because it's like shit. You know what I mean? As people say, you don't really right. Hey, if it's alcohol, it's just like shit. We drink to get drunk. Let's be honest. You wouldn't drink that if that didn't get you high. Right? nobody drinking Johnny Walker with a tea, with a breakfast because I just love the tea. No, you drink it because it get high. Right? So that's how I feel about alcohol. If it doesn't, anything that tastes good with alcohol in it will taste better if you take the alcohol out, right? So that on top of the fact that I do like feeling not in control of myself. I used to be like, nah, I'm not doing that. Then
you realize.
And I mean, I got drunk once before that. That was when we went nuts. That was the very first free drinks we ever went. And it was, I remember to this day, it was $80 to go in. Still in school, eh? This when nuts nobody was asking if I used to go nowhere. I used to go nuts since we was in Form 4. You know what I mean? But by this stage, I think I was in Form 6 or something. And we went to free drinks. It was a boxing night. And Boxing Day had fallen on a Sunday. And they used to have reggae Sundays. But they do that Sunday into a normal Fete night, right? And we went not known as free drinks, and we reached a thing, $80. Boy, and the men, normally we used to do the rub-off stamp thing, but the man with the black light wasn't there that night, so we couldn't ting it. Big up that way. And we couldn't be sure the stamp rub-off and thing now, boy. So we said, nah, boy, scrape up. I go inside, I now spend $80 going up back then.
$80. Yeah, $80 hard.
It was top, boy.
Especially if you're going to school.
What? But I spent $80 to come inside here. I think I borrow money from people outside, you know what I mean? Reach inside, I said, nah, dog.
You had to do it.
I had to drink alcohol. I can't pay $80. I come in and drink juice. And I drink about 5 screwdrivers. Again, drinking thing. Boy, this ain't doing nothing. This always be hyping over. Drinking. Dog, and I bend down. The cup fall. And you had to get the cup to go back by the bar. Cup fall, dog. And I look down. Thing I fumble to get, and when I raise up, the whole are not spinning, bro. The whole of the inside of thing spinning, But I didn't really enjoy myself in that party. So it just like, nah, fuck that, I'm not drinking again. Until
some years after.
Some years later. So all in all to say that if I rated them fetes back then, and I was sober like a judge.
Nah, but I can tell you, boy, the last time I went to Grenada, to party, well, nah, I went to play, but in the partying, bro, I can tell you, right now, I was going through my phone the other day to send some music to some Grenadian DJs, and I just type in Grenada, and there are girls' names in my phone, though, that I saved with Grenada next day.
Yeah, because
to say that it was, I met them in Grenada, or it was, and I cannot remember who they are. When I came back from Grenada that time, I came back on the boat. And I was as we touched down in Trinidad, and I come off the boat. A girl is calling me, where you?
Yeah.
And I have no clue who this girl is or when I give her my number.
Yeah.
Dog, and especially I already mean driving.
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah.
I was drinking like that. Some trees in the mix too.
Right.
Because I'm pumping with Quinn.
Right.
Smoke cloud, so it's real cloud.
Yeah.
So like, it was great.
Yeah. I'll tell you, them experiences. To relive them experiences or to have experiences like that again, I would spend money. I would spend my money. But it's not just any and anything. I know, like you see your friend say she want to make sure they fed vibesy. They're going to pay you $1,500 to go somewhere and sway. You know, I could sway home. You know, I mean, I could put on some nice groovy and, you know, and chill to the music myself. I'm not going away.
But, I mean, as you talking about, you know, the different countries or whatever. Because, like, I was thinking, you know, probably I need to make a trip to experience like Grenada Carnival or whatever. But last year for Grenada Carnival, from Trinidad to Grenada, we saw ticket prices. From Trinidad to Grenada and back, we saw ticket prices over 2,000 US.
Yeah.
From Trinidad to Grenada and back.
Yeah.
Right? Which is also a problem that we're seeing right now to come to Trinidad. Right? So, how you feel everything going to work out? Do you think, is it possible that Grenada even have parties suffering? Because I'm seeing a lot of people online who would have registered for bands selling the costumes now.
Right, because they can't get
so tickets. I think, and a matter of fact, somebody was talking about that recently that, is you telling that somebody is supposed to come and really take a prize? They're like, nah.
Well, yeah. My family and they said, nah, they're not on that. But they made a decision a while ago. They didn't buy no costumes or buy no fete tickets.
Yeah.
Nah.
But I remember somebody else saying, like, we ticket prices. Nah, we're not going to that.
You mad?
Yeah. So
$2,600. I'm sure you on drugs or like $2,600 US?
Yeah.
Nah, dog. No. Them. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's just general inflation. I don't know if that's oil. The oil prices kind of the.
Well, how could be general inflation? Right now, I see tickets to go New York, dog. New York and back for 300 and change.
Well, me and checking them,
Yeah, right. 380 something US.
Well, maybe the airline industry could be suffering a major downturn. And what they're doing is they're having to make up the shortfall in peak periods. Price times when people's sensitivity to the price is reduced, right? They're trying to make up for the money they're not making during the general periods, during the peak periods. Because, I could imagine that with all the situations taking place in the world, the general economic crisis, that people not spending people don't have disposable income to just travel for no reason anymore on vacation or whatever. So maybe those low prices is to get people on the plane
right
in the dead periods, and they're like, well, you had to make it back in Carnival, so pay $26
well, boy, I don't know, because I guess I don't know if it have enough people who want to be here so bad that. Because some people saying they ain't coming, that they will fill all the planes. I mean, probably.
But the thing is, if they're not filling the planes, they'll drop the price.
They'll drop the price. The price will drop. That's what people have to do. So all who out there, they got to boycott, boy, dog, boy. So I don't
know if people reserve any tickets and then boy, dog, why can't I pay that money? And then they're just dropping out and, But if the prices, if people not paying for the tickets after booking them, then they will have to drop the price. They have no other choice. They can't be flying empty planes to Trinidad.
Yeah, so I know it is going on, but I'm hearing a lot of people saying, for one, I see people selling costumes on Instagram, Facebook, and you check it as foreigners.
Yeah.
Right? It's serious. It's serious. Up to today, somebody else, I was listening to, I think, Corey Shepherd. His sister wanted to come, but I think when they check it, if she had to come, particular time, you're going to the next thing.
Yeah.
Americans in her unlimited vacation and they're getting a wildness.
Can't come here for 3 weeks.
Yeah. So if they have to come within this time span, the ticket price is really ridiculous. So at this point, they wondering,
But I mean, we'll see what prices will be like for Miami Carnival, what it'll be like for Labor Day, what it'll be like for Caribana, to see if the same thing is the case.
Going into North America, as I said, because that's something we had to monitor, because then they could, if it's flights and whatnot, they could be pricing people out of Carnival.
Yeah.
Right?
But I mean, this is something that people don't seem to understand, because you keep hearing people quarreling about the price for, if we're not many states, domestic travel is so cheap to go from LA to New York is this price. If I want to go from Trinidad to Barbados, something got to be done about that. Dog, they're not the same amount of people. It's a smaller market.
You don't have the same amount of flights.
I don't know how you feel the plane and them is work on water, or you know how expensive it is for them thing to leave this country and land somewhere else. You know expensive. Just to not even leave the country to go from here to Tobago. You know how much fuel, how much the fuel for that flight costs.
Yeah, but one thing, and once you land in, because for instance, American Airlines could have American Airlines terminal in one state and have American Airlines terminal in the next state. That they pay probably one
and Delta
basic,
and all them,
right? Yeah. One basic coverage or whatever for the year or whatever.
Yeah.
When a Caribbean Airlines flight touch down in JFK or wherever, it's big money they have to spend for that. I mean, some people don't travel that often, but you would realize Caribbean Airlines might dilly-dally. We're taking off here.
Yeah, but they don't do that there.
But they do that there.
Yeah.
If they could even pull off before that, hey, everybody on the plane. And it's 10 more minutes before the flight's supposed to leave. Nah, we pressing.
Yeah.
We want to stick on the because people.
Being profitable in the airline industry depends on a lot of those things. And it's very difficult. So, when we talking about a region here that has, if you're minus Haiti, how much? 7 million people? Come on, dog.
Yeah, and then, I mean, it's not all air flying, and people just talk. Oh, flight's cheaper, and it's still going to blast it.
Yeah.
That people ain't going to place.
Yeah. I mean, I could reach Miami before I could, for less money or the same money than to reach Jamaica. Okay, well, why don't go Miami? Right? Well, are you going to Miami very regularly? Are you saying, well, that's why I go to Miami instead of Jamaica, or do you just not go anywhere? Right? So then what are you quarreling about? And it is, the airline industry is an industry that is well known for its difficulties when it comes to turning a profit. Real airlines operate at a loss for years. You understand? So the Caribbean Airlines and these regional airlines need to find a way to operate and stay even remotely close to profitable, because they cannot shut down and then leave the citizens of this region to foreign airlines. You understand? So if it doesn't behoove American Airlines to fly to Grenada, they won't, and then you can't get to Grenada or Jamaica or wherever. So you need to have a regional airline. Liat still exists, right? Liat is still flying?
No, I don't think so, no. You could probably Google it. Because just that I was asking somebody what, and they were saying that they had stopped during the pandemic, and they were looking for somebody to buy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
our first question is, Liat still operating?
Yeah. So I know somebody else, they was looking for somebody to buy and to spend some money to try and catch it back. But then, as you know, the person who wanted to buy was willing to buy them out completely and change the name and whatever, but they didn't seem like they were interested in doing something like that. So leave island anytime? Yeah, boy. Asma, who I say real pump it when I go in Grenada, because they always had deals. And it was so dread, right? That it go have a deal, and then when you promote that, let's have a deal, but we come up this Friday for the club, boy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you could jump on it.
Yeah, is that our promoter? I used to play for, they own a hotel and they have a club next to it now.
Yeah.
You understand? So when the hotel on free for them, so when they have a deal, better fit. So, but
I fly Liat once, and I get so frustrated with that maxi thing now. Up in the air and down, and up in the air and down. I went Barbados, dog.
Now, when you say you don't like that and that, you don't like the Ascension.
Yeah, I don't like the Ascension, but it's not even that. Not just the physical up and down that I don't like. I just didn't like the idea of. I went to Barbados, dog, and I think we stopped in Grenada and St. Vincent before we went there. What if? Remember, because I'm flying with Caribbean Airlines, and you know you're there in 30 minutes, if so much, 40 minutes coming back for whatever reason. There's a difference in the time coming back, but whatever, it was half an hour to go, 40 minutes to come back. So I got before you know it, you touch down in Barbados. I was like, what the ass is this boy going up, come down, going up, come down, going up? What I couldn't deal with that. You feel like you're in a maxi, like, you know, man, hey, all right, I stop in St. Vincent, boom.
Nah, I hear you know, but let me tell you why I am. Why can't I have me that bird like that, you know? Pick up a bird in St. Vincent, and, you know, and we go on some next time, and you will have vibes.
Right.
I mean, it didn't really go much further from there, but, you know, I just saw the possibilities. I didn't go much further because I didn't want it to go much further.
You know, I see that whole maxi vibes when he played with it. Because I meet one bird, I didn't really go much further now.
But the thing is, the bird wanted to go real far, but you know, I did. But the thing is, I think the possibilities are there to
okay.
You know.
All right, bro. Well, I'm not interested. So I just want to reach where I want to go. So I really need the up and the down and the up and the down. You think?
I like variety. Anyhow, that's like some bad scene that way. I like variety.
What are we touching on? I think we probably gone long. So
yeah, well, there's only one thing I want to touch on before we shut it down. Manchester United, Man City. Was that offside or not? Listen, that is the biggest debate. It had that going on to work 2 days straight.
It is 150,000% offside. 150,000% offside. I don't know how it could be a debate. Now, some people are saying by the letter of the law, it's not offside because Rashford never touches the ball. But the letter of the law doesn't state touch the ball.
Right.
It states interfere with play.
Right.
And it is up to interpretation what interferes with play means. And I don't think there's anybody who understands what the word interfere means who could argue that Rashford didn't interfere with play.
Because he came and he is in between the ball and the defender.
And the defender.
Right.
And he's chasing the ball.
Right.
He didn't, if, as many people do,
You realize and you pull up.
And they stop.
Yeah.
And they let the ball pass them and the other attacker runs onto the ball and then scores. And that's fine. But as Pep quite rightfully pointed out, Edison, who's the keeper, is advancing to close down the ball. And if he has to pay attention to two Manchester players, not one, not just Bruno Fernandes. He has to look at the two of them. He doesn't know which one of them might get in contact with the ball first. So obviously that is affecting his ability to close down the play. And the defender, who is trailing Rashford, it is impeding him from getting to the ball before Bruno Fernandes. No, you could tell me you don't feel you will get there before, but we will never know now, would we? Because Rashford was there. And he didn't stop. And don't pretend like if, it's clear that is the case, because then why do players do that? Why do players stop? Why do players...
I'm real confused as to how people fighting that it wasn't like...
Because either they're retarded or there's Manchester United fans. Either one of two. Well, and if you're a Manchester United fan, you're probably retarded anyway.
Right.
So there's one in the same.
Because, but the thing is, the ref and them let go.
Because the ref made a mistake. The VAR put it to the referee on the field, and he made a mistake. Like they do all the time. They constantly put things into video review and make bad decisions. So, there was a goal in the World Cup, Uruguay, when they played Portugal, and funny enough, it was Bruno Fernandes was involved in that too. He kicked the ball between a defender's leg. The defender was falling down, and his hand, he fell directly, but he clearly didn't know what he was doing, and he put his hand to brace the fall, and his hand touched the ball. They gave the penalty. It was Uruguay they were playing? Yeah, I think it was Uruguay. Yeah, it was Uruguay they were playing, and they gave the penalty. The FIFA came out afterwards and said that's the wrong decision.
Right.
That's the wrong decision. The referee went and looked at it on a monitor, and still gave that bullshit decision. So that's all that went on there. It was a bullshit decision where, and the only thing they could rely on is that there is you can interpret what Rashford is doing as not interfering with the play, or say that you believe somebody's only interfering with play when they engage the ball, when they touch the ball. But I've seen goals given as offside because a man who was standing in an offside position was standing in the line of the keeper.
Right. Yeah, me too. So that's why I was confused. I mean, a man tried to tell me about Rashford never touched the ball, and I was like, nah, I've seen they blow for offside when a man there and he didn't touch the ball yet, but the ball is coming to him. Yeah. You understand?
No. Okay. Now, if you not in the line of the keeper, but you make no attempt to play the ball, then they leave it, right?
Yeah.
Right? But I've seen where people attempt to play the ball, miss the ball, but stop a defender from advancing, and they give that as offside. Because the ball was coming to you, you were in an offside position, and you attempted to play the ball. And when you attempted to play the ball, the defender had to adjust his position now, because he thinks you're going to trap the ball. The fact that you never trapped the ball doesn't mean that you weren't, that you didn't interfere with the play. Yeah. And I've seen that given as well. So you don't have to touch the ball to be interfering with the play. Again, like if you're in the eyesight, the eye line of the keeper, I can't see the ball, and you're standing in an offside position, clearly obstructing me. So anybody who tries to make that argument, and it's not, people keep saying, oh no, you might not like the decision, but by the letter of the law, it is what it is. That's not the letter of the law is left for interpretation. It doesn't say a player is in an offside position when he makes contact with the ball. That's not what it says. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So I was real confused about what people were arguing now, and as I tell you, it's real argument. And I like how it's something I'm missing. Like, you know what I'm saying? And there's some men in work there who real into football and who real in football, and it's like, hey, wait up.
I think unless you are a United fan, or you're just simply trying to be a contrarian, or you misunderstand the law of the game. Because some people saying it as if they feel the law laws of the game indicate that you're only offside when they touch the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I think some people feel that that's what, so maybe they mistaken and that's what they feel. But other than that, unless you're trying to be a contrarian or, you just a Man United
and
fan.
I guess because you see people online trying to slow down the foot just to show he didn't touch the ball and all kind of things. So guys that they probably really think is amateur touching the ball.
Touching the ball. Like, interfering with play is left up to interpretation. But they must feel it's
interfered ball. Interfered ball.
I don't understand it. I mean, it kind of stupid in the end. That is not why City lost the game. City lost the game because Pep didn't prepare them fellas properly. And I think he looking a little bit suspect these days because it seems like he doesn't have an answer for when teams are extremely direct with them.
Mm-hmm.
And teams are kind of figuring that out. So I was kind of glad they lost the game in the end because I find with the players you have, you shouldn't be struggling.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't be struggling. I don't care what Eric Ten Hag doing with United and turning them around. Also, United not playing excellent football. Let be real. They're getting results. And I mean, okay, Eric Ten Hag has to go step by step. First thing is to get results. And that's what he's doing. And I'm not saying that that's bad. But he hasn't turned them into Bayern Munich. You understand what I'm saying? So you had no reason to be going to, even though it was at Old Trafford, you had no reason to be going there and having that team able to defend against you, to keep the ball in front of them that easily. Not when you have the talent you have. They should be so concerned with keeping it safe at the back that they should be playing with Rashford up front alone.
Mm.
The only outlet is to just put the ball over and hope he run onto it. And City defenders should be lapping that up whole day. Just, all right, throw the ball over, squeeze him, collect the ball, go again.
Mm.
But you're not doing that. You're not putting them under that kind of pressure and you have all that quality. So I kind of like, Pep deserved to lose that game. He is lacking the ability to change things around.
But remember, we had this same conversation last year.
Mm.
And I was telling you that, I said, that's one thing I do understand with Pep in that, he seems like he doesn't really want to switch it up now. And you're saying, well, it's working. It's only matters, but clearly what is going on now is that people read you.
Right.
And
yes,
they start to play now.
And my argument is that if you asked him, he'd probably say, and well, he has said in the past, that listen, every team loses games. Teams that play the way you telling me to play, they lose games. Teams that try to play both counter-attacking and something, when they play counter-attacking today and then they play possession football tomorrow and they play midfield dominant play today, they play wide today. Yeah, they lose games. I lose games, but I don't lose very many games. So I prefer to have a plan A and only a plan A,
right,
and make sure them fellas know, because I feel with my players, if they play plan A, well, the chances of winning is 99.9. There's a 0.1 chance they'll lose, but there's a 99.9% chance they'll win. So I prefer to have them play that way and that way, perfect that. He wants his players. So that's why when they're playing out of the back and they get in pressure and they take the ball from them, he don't allow the keeper to just boot it out.
Right, yeah.
He don't mind. Listen, if we lose a goal, no, because I want you to only have one thing on your mind. Not, well, if I'm feeling comfortable passing the ball out today, I'll go flip it up the road. No. Even if you're gonna lose goals, I want you to have only one idea of how to play.
Let everybody touch the ball. Send it up the road.
Or we building out of the back. The point is we're building out of the back. And the only way we're going to get elite at playing out of the back is playing out of the back under any circumstances. They're pressuring we, they're not pressuring we, play out of the back. That's his thing. That's his argument. That he will rather perfect plan A than have a plan A and a plan B and a plan C. And that's my point is not even now that, okay, because he wasn't even executing plan A. That's the problem. They weren't putting United under a whole heap of pressure. They weren't. And they have all the tools to do that. They have fast wingers, they have creative midfielders, and they have one of the best strikers in the blasted world, bro.
Yeah. But, well, Arsenal on top. And Arsenal people very proud and very happy. I mean, I guess they are all right to be.
Yeah. They should win it from here. If they don't win it, I mean, it's Arsenal, and Arsenal tends to they've developed a reputation over the past 10 to 12 years of being a club that, as they say in England, bottles it. And so we'll see if they'll bottle it from here. But 8 points ahead.
Yeah, because, I mean, and this is what I was watching. I mean, now that City lost this game here and lost the opportunity, they just catch up a little bit. Yeah.
And now the gap is 8 points.
Yeah, so.
They play United next. If they beat United, I think that's there. Because City not showing any consistency. No, the thing is with City is that City has been known to go on runs, right? They do that. At a time they were 11 points, I think, behind Liverpool.
Right, yeah.
And they run them down. And they catch them and they beat them, right? Because they went like unbeaten for like last 16 games of the season. Went unbeaten and win like 15 or 14 of them. So that is possible. And they have the quality in the squad. But I don't feel Manchester United running down Arsenal. So if United don't do it, if City don't do it, I don't think. But City can't afford many more slip-ups. Because Arsenal might be Arsenal. But at some point in time, you'll be like, nah, dog. if you ain't start winning games, bro. Because you're at the point in time now, we're heading into February. If you ain't kick into fifth gear now and start to run down them fellas, they will get out of sight. So we'll see. I think if they beat United, I think that's when, if United beats them, or if they draw, right. But if United beats them, then they can start to feel the pressure and start to crumble because it's Arsenal. At the end of the day, it's Arsenal. Can't forget that.
My Baba ain't gonna like to hear that, but
I mean,
that's what it is up.
Once you're still here, once you still a man like Xhaka in your side, bro, because Xhaka playing good now, but he is. I don't believe Tigers could change their stripes, bro. So men whose liabilities will always be liabilities. I think he's always a liability. When you have Gabriel in your back line, he's a liability. Them fellas, they don't go from being mistake prone yesterday to being Maldini tomorrow. You know what I mean? I would say, somebody was telling me, I always say that, right? And somebody was telling me that about Argentina. I say, but look at Otamendi. I said, but no, but Otamendi was still a liability. He gave away the penalty in that brought France back into the game because he made a stupid mistake. Because that's Otamendi. You understand what I'm saying? He's still getting his requisite number of yellow. He didn't get sent off though, which was unusual. But he still gets requisite number of yellow cards. He still makes his requisite number of mistakes. It's just that Argentina was able to survive his mistake. But Otamendi was still Otamendi, bro. And just like how, because my thing is, I always say, anytime Otamendi in your back four, bro, the other team always have a chance. And it was always the case. They went 2-0 up against Holland. Holland came back. They did it against Australia. Australia almost came back. They did it against France. France came back. Because you're Otamendi. And Otamendi is Otamendi. So my thing is, there are some players on Arsenal that have always shown themselves to be men who can't stand up when the pressure get high. And so, when some fellas in the team, you always have reason to be like, I ain't so sure.
Well, boy, we have a weekend of football coming up. You go touch and see how we're going just at the end to see how we're going in the Premier League, how that goes.
I find the real Premier League bias, so I'm to La Liga.
Right, in paying any attention to them.
I'm to Germany, I'm to Bundesliga, I'm to
Bundesliga now start to mark.
To Liga, I'm to I don't understand why we so England focused. Is that England in win a Champions? Well, they won a Champions League year before last, but oh gosh, the English side win Champions League 5 times. You know how much side it have outside of England that do that?
Dortmund do it?
No, not Dortmund.
Yes, he's alright. So
Bayern Munich.
Oh, Barca. Yeah, Bayern is the monster close.
Barca, Real Madrid, AC Milan. I think not Juventus. Juventus didn't make 4 yet. They make 5 yet. But yeah.
Juventus playing tomorrow.
Big sides out there. We only want to talk about
like the big league, dog. Like the big league. No, we're talking about Chelsea, dog.
Well,
not in a positive way.
We're talking about Chelsea. That's my point. You understand? We're talking about how much shit there is, and when you could be talking about how good AC Milan played in Italy, or how Barcelona thump up Real Madrid, how well, as they say, Bundesliga ain't start back yet, but we could talk about them thing. We could talk about other, because all the talk, them English sides didn't have a pedigree. They didn't have how much Champions League Chelsea win? 2. How much did Manchester United win? I think Manchester United is the most successful English club in the Champions League. And I remember, what, 3?
I don't follow that.
2 sides in Spain have more than 5, bro. What's that? Well, Real Madrid is obviously they were like 13 or 14 or some shit like that. So them and they decided to win it 3 times in a row, but dog, come on. No, Liverpool, nah, I lie. Liverpool win more than 5 times. Yeah.
Serious?
Yeah. But I mean, the vast majority of them being in the 80s. But they won in the 80s, and then they won 2 recently. 1 in 05, and then, well, Klopp win the other day. So, yeah, they are 5. Yeah. So, I forget about Liverpool. They're actually the most successful team in the Champions League from England.
I see. I say you got more info on that than me. Don't worry, we get somewhere to talk some sport with you.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
So, let's get ready to wrap it up for this week. Hey, you have a safe and blessed one. Who fetting, who partying? Hit us up in the comments below. Let us know what's going on. How, what the vibe is out there for you.
Yeah, we can live vicariously through all this.
Yeah. And if you're outside and you're not coming because of the plane tickets, the prices, let us know as well. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right, we out.